All right, we are ready to go here in the John Bailey Arena. Welcome back to day 2 of Grit 2026 here on BC Sports TV. My name's Tino Farah. I'm joined alongside, as per usual, by Kaya Antic.
Hello.
Cameraman extraordinaire George Parra is to my left. And in front of us on the turf here, we got WBOX and the Dingoes coming towards center floor. After a nice opening ceremony to kick things off here, we did have a forfeited game this morning between She Nation and the Ridge Meadows Ravens. In case anybody watching this game was wondering why we may have had a slower start to the day. So they wound up just kind of doing a practice between the two teams and a scrimmage as well afterwards. And the Ravens will be credited with the win in that one. And that may have some standings implications as this day goes along here because, of course, the semifinals will get underway tomorrow. And the Dingoes, who play against the Ravens later on today, of course, have the 1-0 record with their win versus She Nation yesterday. So a win here right now is going to be big for the Dingoes going into their matchup against the Ravens tomorrow. Or check that, tonight, excuse me. They'll have the late game in a handful of hours from now. That shot will be fought off and stopped by starting netminder in goal for WBOX. It'll be Evelyn Saucy.
Versatile players are playing as a runner as well in a couple games yesterday.
That's right, doing a little bit of everything. And she was in goal for the 93 shots that they faced yesterday against Ridge. She made 62 saves in that game. And that loss was by no means something that you could rest on her shoulders. When you see almost 100 shots against in a game, man, oh man, the goaltender doing their job in that one. At the other end, starting in goal for the Dingoes, it looks like it'll be Kira Voicey once again as she takes a look around her crease. It's underneath of her. She's got a .710 save percentage. Only had to make 10 saves in their win yesterday versus She Nation, but Kira Voicey certainly showed off her talents in that winning effort.
Absolutely, had a strong showing. You mentioned the almost 100 shots. We did hit 100 shots in the late game last night. Yes, Poland had 100 clean.
Oh my.
Yeah, I saw that this morning when I woke up. I was like, oh, so they did credit them with 100. So
that was not a fever dream.
I can't wait to tell Tina.
Well, the Dingoes still fighting here for the early game's opening goal, and they're going to work it with the righties. Now up top, Reese Jacques with a little bit of room, but she'll throw a low bouncer over to Hall. She'll get her feet moving and fire that high up into the chest protector of Saucy, who knocks it down, and a reset is up for grabs here, and the Dingoes had it for a moment. Taken away, though, and WBOX will turn in the opposite direction, led by Alexandra Nelson. Pass was just out of the reach of Peters, and the Dingoes will turn it back.
Yeah, it looked like the Dingoes just couldn't quite get their stick on the ball. And WBOX trying to take advantage, but some good pressure now for the Dingoes.
Ball goes down hard to the turf. Alani Lip open in the middle. She'll create some space for herself now as teammates start to make their way off the bench. Maddie Moen. Screen set for her by Sarah Damon. Moen still with it. She'll split down low to the corner, spin through, and she takes a cross check up high. Dispossesses her of the ball, and Saucy will find that in her crease. An early bit of reverse transition for the Dingoes. They want to be quick to get defenders on.
Oh no, absolutely, as WBOX does have some speed in their lineup, some power hitters as well.
They'll cause a turnover now, a 3-on-1 forming for WBOX. Pass to the middle, and there's the first big save for Kira Voicey. She gets that right shoulder up in time, and it'll stay possession for WBOX, but that was the biggest save we've seen all game.
Oh, absolutely. She'll likely have to make a bit more of those here this morning. I almost said tonight. No, it is. It is not even 10:30 in the morning. To make some more saves like that one right there, once again off the shoulder. A little bit more than the shots she faced against She Nation yesterday, but we'll see how this one progresses.
As the WBOX forward stumbles under her own feet, that's Madison Fox. Now open again with a lane to go. Rebound off the save by Voisey, and that'll be picked up momentarily at least. Voisey now reaching out of her crease, and she's got to deal with the swinging stick of Mackenzie Shimko, who's been dynamic for WBOX throughout this tournament. 10 points so far in 2 games for her.
Oh, absolutely. She's been electric out there, whether they're wearing the white and purple jerseys or the black and green there. She's able to get off to the races and get the points for her team.
Creates a lot of offense out the offensive gate for WBOX, but at the other end, it's Aneko Hall, cuts through, and ball is knocked out of her stick, so Saucy will leave for a defender. Alora Wardenberg will help get that ahead, and now Nelson will do the rest of the work over center. Luckily, she didn't drop that, though. Had a trailing check behind her. WBOX now looking to get their offense set. Here's Julia Peters. Still looking for her first point as a member of WBOX, but she's got 4 goals when she's playing with her more usual team, She Nation. Doing a bit of double dipping here between the 2 rosters, and another defensive stand for the Dingoes will get it back up to their forwards.
As both teams make some changes, WBOX still getting everybody out there. Damon on the far side, wearing the C for the Dingoes.
She'll get a pick and roll, and that bounces off the crossbar, and somehow that stays out off the back of Saucy and does not wind its way over the goal line. She'll throw a pass up. It's intercepted by May. Now numbers for the Dingoes. May is just going to take it right to the goal herself, and she scores. 1-0 early for the Dingoes. May is able to break through.
Ashlyn May able to cut into this one here, as she just heads right in alone. There's no defense there for WBOX to take her on, and Ashlyn May opens scoring here early.
Big goal for her. It's her second of the tournament. Remember, the Dingoes play another game tonight, so you kind of got to play that game of cat and mouse a little bit. How hard do you want to go in this early game? Of course, you want to find yourself with a 2-0 record by the end of this, but you also have to find a way to preserve some of that energy for a big one later on today against the Ravens. Got to figure out how you want to play this as this game goes along, and right now in a good position. But Peters will look to the short side, stopped by the shoulder of Voisey.
Absolutely, and also the Dingoes had the early 8 a.m. game start yesterday and haven't played since then, so they got some extra rest, as that one's a long shot over to Lister.
Meanwhile, WBOX have already played 2 games going down on the first day of the tournament. They lost 16-5 yesterday versus the Ravens, and then won in the late game versus She Nation 17-7. So they've seen a little bit of everything. They found some success. They also took an early bruise with the loss in their first game of the tournament yesterday morning. Nice pass to the roller. It's Hall, another bouncer beats Saucy, and it's 2-0 for the Dingoes.
Kameko Hall has had quite a few chances. I feel like she's always somewhere in the rush for the Dingoes, and she's able to, she still had a defender on her, but able to flick that over the shoulder there of Saucy and bouncing it into the net.
Yeah, you can tell oftentimes just by the body language of some of these players, like who are the high IQ players, and Hall is definitely one of those ones for the Dingoes. You can see she doesn't necessarily always need to use her speed. She's just smart on the floor. She takes her space. She sees gaps. She exposes teams when they give her that little bit of room. And now the Dingoes will look for the 3-0 lead. A diving shot by Ashlyn May. She'd be denied her second, but the Dingoes aren't done yet. They go straight to goal and score. It's Gigi Gaspar. Triples up on their lead. It's 3-0.
And once again, the Dingoes just hounding the WBOX net. Gaspar able to pick that one off the inboards and just run straight in front there of Saucy.
And nobody picks her up. I'm sure that's something that WBOX will discuss when they get to the break or any timeout that they may see. Have to find some help down low. It's almost the cardinal sin as a defensive core. If you are the low defender, you cannot get beat underneath. If you're up top, you cannot get beat over top. You always have to find some help whenever those slides are needed. And right now the Dingoes exposing that open space available courtesy of WBOX.
Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna need a mental break, and here's a bit of a reset as they come in and score. It'll be Ever Skelding, I believe, getting the goal.
And talk about open space here. It's going to be one of the easier goals for Skelding. She makes a nice move, but all she's got to do is beat Voicey to the glove side, and she makes no mistake. We've learned a lot about these players through one day of the tournament, and Ever Skelding is one of those forwards that the Dingoes are going to have to find some scouting report on. You cannot leave her open with that kind of room.
And her and Wardenberg as well. Wardenberg able to help drive that rush. It was starting as a 2-on-1. Two Dingoes defenders ended up chasing there after Skelding, but she's able to get it in the back of the net.
Now Hall, she'll shoot low and she'll score. All 4 goals now by the Dingoes have beaten Saucy down low.
So they've likely spotted that, pattern recognition. It's crucial in games like this, and just bounce that one 5-hole, I believe.
Defender being used a little bit as a screen there too.
Yeah. I was like, I couldn't see it from that first camera angle, so if I can't see the goalie, then she can't see me, so.
So Hall makes this a 4-1 lead, but WBOX answer right back to barn burner here in Poco.
A lot of low bounces in. The Dingoes go one end, WBOX comes back the other. It's Madison Fox able to bounce that one in to cut the lead back down to 2.
Just about to talk about how good of a response it was from the Dingoes to reclaim that 3-goal lead right after WBOX scores, but now it's about the response of WBOX. They get their foot forward with their first of the game. They give one up to the Dingoes right after, but they get it right back, and now the lead is cut down to 2 once again. These two powerhouses going punch for punch in the opening 10 or so minutes of this game. And another save by Saucy. But a penalty coming up now against the Dingoes, and that'll give us our first power play of the game. It'll be courtesy of WBOX.
And still just nearing the 3rd mark of this first quarter. Just under 10 minutes gone so far, and we've had 6 goals already. And now WBOX will try and continue to chip away at that Dingoes lead, looking to get it within 1 on the player advantage.
So WBOX will run a set motion here. Shimko, oftentimes the shooter for this group. She'll find space in the corner, but switch back up top. Pass through to the cutter. It was Wardenberg who was open. Pass was just off the mark, though, and the Dingoes will look to get some transition short-handed. The forecheck, though, of Shimko causing some problems. She'll create a new 30 for WBOX. Hounded on the perimeter. She'll get it back up top to the point. Now the power play can settle. Shimko wants to shoot, and that's stopped by Voicey. Falling backwards, still got a foot out in time.
Great save, though, by Voicey.
Shot through.
Still more shooters, though, on this power play. Danny Kay as well had a number of points last night, along with Michelle Bennett, both netting hat tricks.
Now Shimko with that big release, and on the rebound, they'll pot one home. Madison Fox again on the doorstep.
She's able just to notice that there is, I don't want to say open space, but the defender there just doesn't see her inching closer to the crease, and she's able to bat that one in. Similar
to one of the earlier goals by the Dingoes, and just in this case, there is help there, but it's the low defender just caught sleeping a little bit. You have to box out your counterpart there, have to take care of the rebound and make your goaltender's life a little bit easier. Now WBOX within one and pressing as Julia Peters draws the matchup of Lomas. Both of the Lomas sisters are in the game today as Kaylin gets back in and Raya will get in for her first game of the tournament. Very easy to pick out again with those bright yellow Coquitlam Adnac colored helmets. Purple cages as well for some style points.
Oh, okay. Or are they mauve?
Don't get me started on the color mauve.
What about periwinkle?
All the way down to the WBOX crease. It'll be launched ahead. Saucy gets it back up to her forward group. The pace is really picking up here, but the energy is as well. We've been hearing all about the vibes on the Dingoes bench. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on because WBOX want more. Oh, a floater. That was eerily similar to a Forsberg-style goal that you'd see in hockey, just sort of floating it back across, and that was Ever Skelding looking for her second. Now the Dingoes almost forgot about the ball. Now they'll pick it up, though, and look to stretch. They will, and they got to get some fresh legs on. 4 forwards ahead. They still need to bring on Hall off the bench. Lomas will put that off of a stick. WBOX with their first block of the game. And how about this burst of speed? But how about this forecheck? The Dingoes trying to cause the time count against WBOX. Not going to be able to do so, and a big cross-check will slow down Emma McLaughlin.
It would take a big hit like that to slow her down. She's got some speed, and so does Peters.
Tie game. Julia Peters draws things even at 4. The burst of speed there again, this time down low, and it'll be tied up here late in the quarter.
McLaughlin and Peters, just a dynamic duo of just raw speed there. Peters able to get her first for WBOX in this tournament. Of course, scored with her other team, She Nation, in this division.
Now back to square one. In comes Maddie Moen, gets some help. This is Gaspar with a goal in this quarter. Hall has one as well, but she dropped that ball. Picked up WBOX with some momentum here. Hall, one of the leaders for the Dingoes, will look to calm things down a little bit. Back to the outside. To Hall. She'll get her feet moving and shoot on the run. Stopped by Saucy, her first save in a little while. New 30 for the Dingoes, but they may have just turned it over. It's going to be a back over call, and WBOX hollering for a delay of game penalty. They're not going to get it, but they will get the free clear at center.
Yeah, it was just an accidental touch, I feel, just off the tip of her stick, and it rolls over. Not intentional, so I don't think warranting the penalty there.
Officials letting them play on. Lip doing a good job to angle Shimko to the corner. The WBOX forward has it in the middle. That's Madison Fox on hat-trick watch here early. Blind pass through. That'll be picked up nicely by Jazz Lister. Gives it up to Lip. And now the Dingoes got to get this over the center line. Lomas came streaking off the bench, but the pass was just too hot to handle. Sophia Scobie will take it back for WBOX. They have looked much better in this game than maybe we've seen them all tournament so far. Shot around a screen that misses the net, into the final minute here. It'll bounce dangerously towards center, and it's just saved by Wardenberg.
That had inches.
A close call there. 10 seconds left on this shot clock. Here's Wardenberg around a screen and stopped by Kira Voicey, and she'll hang on for the whistle. It'll be a 2-forward forecheck for WBOX. Dingoes got to get this over the line. They will. Passed up to the half wall. Ashlyn May will swing over to Hall. Waits for the screen to come. She'll start to move down low through the middle. Pass took a deflection. Now Brewster. She'll get that over to the opposite corner. A drive to the crease. Diving across. Stopped by Saucy. Now 14 seconds to go. WBOX got to be quick to get this up and over center if they want a late chance on goal. Lobbed ahead. It'll bounce to Bennett. She couldn't reach it. Lomas takes a peek over to the clock, and she's just going to let this thing wind down. A high-flying first quarter here on our second day of Grit 2026. We're right now between the Dingoes and WBOX. It's all tied up at 4-4. We'll take a quick breather here on BC Sports TV and bring you second quarter action when we return. "15 minutes in the books here at Grit 2026, day number 2, and this is technically speaking our second game of the day. More realistically speaking, it is our first, because the game between She Nation and the Ridge Ravens this morning wound up being a forfeit. So the Ravens get the win there. They will now hang out and likely watch this one, whether it be live or whether it be reviewing the film later on, because they're going to be taking on the Dingoes later on today. Thanks for joining us here on BC Sports TV. Tino Farah, Kai Antic, cameraman extraordinaire George Parra. What a first quarter we saw here at Kaya. 4-4. It looked early like the Dingoes were going to run away with it, but then WBOX came storming back, and I would argue they have the momentum now, and it's coming from the back half of that first quarter.
Yeah, they took a little while to settle in, but were able to get through the Dingoes defense and get some past Boise. I will say WBOX, probably some momentum last night from a 17-7 win over She Nation. The Dingoes do have the extra day of rest, so maybe that's why they came in hot, but trying to conserve their energy as we head to the rest of this 60 minutes.
Yeah, it's kind of that debate that you see it in a lengthy playoff series where like one team will get through on a sweep, another team goes the full 7 games. Would you rather be the well-rested team or would you rather be the well-oiled machine? Do you have to worry about some rust or do you have to worry about fatigue? It's kind of a never-ending debate, and right now we're seeing both sides of it as WBOX, like you said, coming off of the win last night, feeling good about themselves. The Dingoes rested. They may have had the better start here, but since WBOX found their footing, would argue they've been the better team, and they tie the game on a late power play goal. Now Hall to the cutter. This is Moen. Down low, one-time shot, and Saucy got over in time with the stick.
It was a great pass over to Gasper from Moen. And now another great pass.
Stretch feed finds McLaughlin off the bench, streaking ahead is Madison Fox. Couldn't catch up to it. Julia Peters off balls, trying to direct traffic. And Fox pushed hard into the board. She's pinned there now. And just 10 seconds left on their shot clock. They're going to have to be quick if they want to get to the goal. It goes down to the turf, and there's going to be a loose ball push that'll be called against WBOX. So they were able to get into the zone, but couldn't really get anywhere near the Dingoes' goal.
No, the Dingoes definitely locking in now as they're trying to get a better start or a similar start in this second quarter to the first quarter, but something's just not connecting for them, but they're still getting the majority of the possession as we get into the second quarter of this first half.
Raya Lomas denied, and she's frustrated right now with the defense of Nelson. They're exchanging cross checks, but Hall will pick up her second of the game, and the Dingoes will pick up the lead.
I will say the Dingoes have had some trouble getting the ball on their sticks. It's like they're just missing on the outside. It'll bounce out, but not for the stick of Kameko Hall, who's able to net her second of the day.
And another one that goes 5-hole. That was the theme early on for the Dingoes. They were shooting low often, and the shots have been updated on the scoreboard here in the arena, now favoring the Dingoes 19-10. I would argue at least 50% of those shots probably fired down low on Saucy. Like you mentioned in the first quarter, maybe something that the Dingoes picked up on in their scouting report.
Absolutely, and they have a bit more to work with. Of course, WBOX played twice yesterday, correct? So they have a bit more tape, as you could say.
Shimko switches from left to right, back to right. Trail check knocks it loose. And it's thrown towards the goal. Now Saucy sees a streaking defender up. It's Gaspar, takes it off the bounce, and she's hammered hard.
What a check.
Geddes throws her to the carpet. And now going to battle for this loose ball. Lomas is going to dig for it as well. Physicality really ramping up here, and the officials say play on.
Yeah, especially saw it with the board battle earlier with Fox, who scores.
A big hit at one end, and it turns into transition. WBOX have once again tied this game.
There's some celebrations going on over at the WBOX bench. Both benches keeping the vibes high. I think it's a little bit higher on the WBOX end of things, but George is trying to throw his hat.
Well, he's right. Madison Fox completes the hat trick. The first half hattie.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it would make it down there. It's kind of like a bunch of netting and.
Well, it's a thought that counts, George.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a slashing call away from the play. And that is going to put the Dingoes on their first power play of the game. They've already surrendered a power play goal against, and now they've got a chance to return the favor to WBOX.
Yeah, a bit of a damper there on the moment for WBOX just after equalizing it once again. We're looking to take possession into the Dingoes' end and get their first lead of the game, but instead it's the Dingoes headed onto the player advantage.
To the point. Gowdy will start the cycle. She's going to run the quarterback of this power play. Lane to shoot, but she'll feed one more over to Hall, who's on the hunt for her hat trick. She'll find some space up top. Gowdy steps into one, and that will make its way on goal. Might have taken a bounce before it got there. Now the Dingoes going to want to get this ball back, but they start to leak some defenders on to take away transition that wasn't really there yet. So those defenders are going to start to make their way back to the bench as Voici comes out of her cage to get it up to the forwards.
Yeah, a good clear to try and knock some extra time off the clock. Not really time for a transition, though, for WBOX to try and go shorthanded.
Gowdy, room again, a backhand feed over her shoulder, and the shot from the near side will bounce off the corner boards. That's the unfortunate part about shooting from there. If you do miss, I mean, that's a good angle to take a shot, but it can bounce off the corner boards and all the way back, and it'll be a shorty. WBOX will pick up their first lead of this game.
Now this time, since that the Dingoes were the ones to lose possession, the ball runs all the way towards the net of Voici, and just able to get it in the back there is Ever Skelding. Short-handed, gets the marker. I was going to say on the original clear where the ball went all the way down, of course under WBOX possession, when it went all the way down, they also didn't exactly have the time to take their defensive players off and switch them out for offensive-minded runners, as they, one, have the long change, and two, a lot of their penalty killers were playing in deep, whereas with the switch of possession there, they get the advantage.
Here's Skelding, all sorts of room. She wants another chance at a shorthanded goal, but it's blocked in front. And the Dingoes will now look to get their power play back on. They've still got 20 seconds remaining on the power play, and it'll be a shot clock violation after another big collision near the restraining line. The power play's got to be quick here, but they've also got to be careful of when they shoot. That goes off of a defender in front. No reset on the clock. Hall will skip it. Shot wide again. Ricochets to the point. This will be picked up by May. In front, Gowdy, a low release and a kick save. Ball goes down. Now the penalty is over, and if WBOX can acknowledge this, they would have had a breakaway chance. Hall will save the day and reset the 30 again for the Dingoes.
Yeah, just a missed opportunity there for WBOX to try and spring the runner free and extend their lead, but Saucy able to make that save.
And now the one good thing for the Dingoes here, I mean, one of multiple things I would say, but right now for WBOX, they've got their 6 goals, but they only have 3 scorers right now. Madison Fox has a hat trick, Skelding has 2, and Julia Peters has a single. So if the Dingoes can find a way to shut down at least 1, maybe 2 of those shooters, they can put themselves in a pretty good spot here. That shot will go to the glove side and in. It's a 2-goal lead for WBOX off the stick of Emma McGuire. Check that, Mackenzie Shimko.
Yeah, a bit of an outlier when it comes to the goals here today. This one goes up and over rather than through the 5-hole, over the reaching shoulder. Voici just a little too slow to get in position, and WBOX with the largest lead that they've had so far. This one just goes in and out of the top corner.
A position now that the Dingoes haven't really found themselves in. How are they going to keep their heads? The vibes were so high yesterday in an 11-4 win, but now a little adversity. They trail by 2 and just trail in general. Really, for the first time, they were down 1-0 very early on in their win yesterday, but from that point forward, they did not look back. And that included an 8-0 run at one point during the second quarter of that game. Now trailing by 2, but outshooting WBOX by a 2-1 margin, 20-10 right now, but just have not been able to beat Evelyn Saucy quite as many times as Voici has been beat at the other end.
I have a feeling the shot clock, now they're adding a few more onto the clock there. I feel like it wasn't really reflective of the effort that WBOX was making, as they'll have to add another one here.
Now in front by 3. you just knew it would be only a matter of time until Alora Wardenberg would find the back of the net.
Absolutely, as she just heads toward the net of Boise, able to get past the trailing defenders there and call a timeout here on the Dingoes bench to try and reset the vibes.
Yeah, we are going to throw the camera down there to head coach Keith Gagne. They used a timeout yesterday and was talking to him after their game, and the message on the bench there when he used the timeout was, what's the problem here? And the immediate answer from the players was the vibes. The vibes are not good enough. So right after that, and that was in a game when they were leading for the vast majority of that game, pretty well the entirety of it. So vibes, very key for the Dingoes' success. And even while down by 3, you know, just getting the energy back up on the bench can make a big difference for this group. Right now, have to imagine he's probably talking about calming things down, but the Dingoes played with so much energy early on, and they've lacked that ever since. Have to find a way to get back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Dingoes yesterday, as you mentioned, they were riding high. They were leading 10-2, and then it was a couple of goals in a span of 3 minutes or so for She Nation. And Coach Keith gave them some questions about the vibes. Ended up getting one more before the game's end.
May will get it to Hall. Switches with Raya Lomas. Hall looking around the screen. Defended well, though. She'll get it across to Moen at the point. Moen will roll to the middle on a set play. She's got room. She shoots, and a better save by Saucy. A little bit of room at the 5-hole, but Evelyn Saucy makes the stick save.
She launches that one up to McLaughlin, but McLaughlin couldn't quite handle the pass. No. She grabs it now, but it's an 8-second violation.
I think it might have been back over.
Oh, okay.
Just took the step ahead and then back pedals on the pressure. Now the feed down low, and it's going to be another big hit after the shot. It's not going to be a penalty. It will be a loose ball push, though. And I actually got reminded last night after I got home here, World Lacrosse rules. I've been used to the Lacrosse Canada, the summer ball rules for the bulk of this, and it actually is a 10-second count by the World Lacrosse rules to cross center. So shout out to the goaltender for New Westminster. More on that in a second because we got a breakaway here for Peters, and she'll put it wide. Rebound off the boards. Wardenberg has it, and she'll take a bit of space.
I'm not sure if Boise got a piece of that, but it looked like it took an extra deflection before hitting the backboards.
But shout out to Maddie Morrison for reminding me of the World Lacrosse rulebook, the struggle of multiple rule books throughout the same sport. Hey, George? It's a struggle.
It's hard to research sometimes.
Now Gowdy has it. Been a little while since a goal, which is probably to the benefit of the Dingoes. After calling that timeout, things have calmed down here, which is exactly what they want. Now Hall working with Lomas, swings over to Moen. Moen on the strong side of the right-handed forward. Shot got through. Where is it? It's somewhere stuck in the pads of Saucy, and the referee's going to have to help her get it out of the wardrobe.
It's embedded in the back padding, looks like it. It's not a typical place. Usually, like, it'll get lodged as there's a turnover here.
Now Gaspar one-on-one. She'll shoot a bounce shot off the end boards. Does not make the goaltender make a stop there. I'm getting flashbacks. There's a couple of years ago in the NLL where Justin Getty, a huge hit! Peters gets knocked down, a heavy cross-check, and the physicality continues to pick up here. A budding rivalry now between these two starting to build.
A lot of physicality in this second quarter.
WBOX sees a couple of forwards open down low. May protecting her stick. She runs straight into a double team, maybe a triple team, but she spins through it and she'll sprint the center floor. She's got Damon off the bench. The pass was good, but it bounces out of her stick.
I think Damon shot there thinking that she still had the ball on her stick, but instead it was bouncing behind her.
Now Wardenberg denied by the glove of Voicey. Loose ball now kicked ahead. Nobody able to pick it up yet. Wardenberg thrown hard into the boards, but the Dingoes will come up with it. They've got some legs coming off the bench here, and what's the call now? I don't think they were, I mean, maybe the Dingoes had possession already ahead of time, so maybe they get the 10-second count there. Either way, WBOX possession now. Shot off the stick of Voicey and in. Call it a 4-goal advantage for WBOX.
The largest lead anyone's had so far today. WBOX. I believe that's Danny Kay with it, as she gets her first of the game to make it 9-5. We'll say the Dingoes, while they're having the majority of the shots, they're not able to get past Evelyn Saucy, whereas Voicey still looks a little bit like she still needs to get into the rhythm of things. Shaken from the first quarter potentially, where WBOX were putting on much more pressure than the Dingoes had faced yesterday.
Dingoes looking for a response. Shot right on, stopped by Saucy. Rebound is there. And they're going to keep it with the Dingoes on an interference, so they'll start in the corner with Hall. WBOX have done a great job adjusting defensively. So we saw the open targets down low in the first quarter. That hasn't really existed here in the second. And Saucy's been lights out while her team is getting the job done at the other end of the floor.
No, absolutely there. She's able to not box out, that's not the quite word, the word I want to use, but she's able to cover most of her net as Voicey's able to stop that with the chest protector.
Now WBOX will force a back in. A good read there by Wardenberg after a save by Voicey, denying Ever Skelding, and that's an important save for her, but she'll need another. And there's going to be a penalty against WBOX. Speaking of, is that going to be Skelding taking a seat for 2 or less? It looks like it will be.
Yeah, she was just in a battle in front of the net. I believe it was with Kaylin Lomas. Somebody took a tumble in close by Voicey, and now the Dingoes to the power play.
Now Raya Lomas will park on the far crease. Gowdy gets it to the lefties. Hall will get it to May. Now back to Hall with room. Just falls out of her stick before she could shoot. WBOX electing to just launch this down the floor, and the Dingoes are going to put one defender on. It's Rachel Boyes who will get it back up to the forward group and quickly change to get the extra forward on.
WBOX also instructed, instead of rushing forward, stay low, stay within that dotted line, just as they did on their last penalty kill, which also earned them the shorthanded goal, but I believe the person who scored that shorthanded goal is in the box currently for them, so that exact plan won't play itself out as Damon can't get her stick on the ball.
Now WBOX again just want to throw it, put it to an open area and see if somebody can chase it down. Boyes will get there first. She's pressured though. Good bit of forechecking by the WBOX forward, who then draws an interference call. It's Emma McLaughlin, and she'll streak back to the bench, and her team's fired up after that effort.
McLaughlin's really good on the rush, coming from her own end on the defensive side of things, able to force the Dingoes into an error and get a shorthanded possession chance here for her team.
What a pass behind the goal. I believe that was Danny Kay who just kind of wrapped it around, just playing the bounce there, and it winds its way back to Alora Wardenberg, who is in perfect position for it. That's team chemistry if I've ever seen it. Wardenberg finds a bit of room. She'll get it behind the net. Kay looking to the short side, and it bounces off the outside of the goal. That's not going to reset the clock, but the Dingoes just have 15 seconds left on their power play.
See if they can get something. They definitely need a goal sooner rather than later to try and get themselves back into this one. As Saucy denies that.
Lomas looking low. Those were the shots that were falling in the first quarter. They just haven't here as Skelding out of the box into the offense, and Boise will make another stick save. The Dingoes now 0 for 2 on the power play. Another tumble into the final minute here.
And for a team that really had quite the offensive showcase yesterday, and the Dingoes in the early morning, it's like they're struggling to match that pace that they had. Good block there from WBOX.
Jacques will put that off a defender and out. 35 seconds left. There's about a 6-second difference between the shot and game clock. Jacques with it again on her wrong side. Working into the corner. She'll float it in front. Didn't hit the target. Moen has it now. 15 to shoot. Over to Jacques. Pressured. She's hit hard into the boards. Chance to make a play on it still. It'll trickle its way over, and another loose ball push that'll give possession to WBOX. Do they want to use their first half timeout now with just 8 seconds to go? Looks like the answer is no. Still time for one late shot. A spinning chance that will bounce its way over the goal, and through 30 minutes of this one, WBOX, who trailed early, battled back and have looked in control ever since. 9-5 now, they lead at the half. And the adjustment is going to be all at the hands of the Dingoes. How will they recover going into the third quarter and second half of this game? You can find out alongside us here at BC Sports right here at Grit 2026. Second half action coming up next on BC Sports TV. It's Grit 2026. It's Tino Farah, it's Kaya Antic, it's cameraman extraordinaire George Para, and it's the Dingoes trailing 9-5 versus WBOX, and we were doing all sorts of numbers crunching in the halftime breather because right now the Dingoes sit in second place in their pool with a 1-0 record. The Ridge Ravens, having picked up their second win due to the forfeit this morning against She Nation, they now sit in first at 2-0. But later on tonight, the Ridge Ravens play the Dingoes. And if this score remains kind of as it is, if the result remains at what we sit right now, that would mean WBOX would finish the pool play with a 2-1 record, meaning that everything would really come down to the game this evening, at least in this pool between the Ridge Ravens, the Dingoes, and WBOX, who potentially could all have a 2-1 record. But an early goal here for the Dingoes. Kameko Hall will complete the hat trick.
Yeah, and who else but Hall? It's an early possession, and she's able to cut in there just in front of Saucy, still in net. And she's able to get her team back within 3 here.
That is a very important goal for the Dingoes to, like we've been talking about, get the vibes up early on in the second half. It had been a while since they scored a goal. Now they can feel what it feels like to score once again, get that positivity back on their bench. They had the speaker going, they had their playlist rolling as they all stayed out on the turf during the halftime. So working hard to try to get the energy and the vibes back up on the Dingoes bench.
Vibes, word of the tournament for the Dingoes, I think.
I can tell you, anywhere the Aussies go, the vibes typically follow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just take a drive up to Whistler.
Now another fast break for the Dingoes to cut within 2, and they do off the stick of Gaspar. She will get the job done, and it'll be a 9-7 lead now for WBOX.
Yeah, they're slowly cutting in to the lead here. Gaspar's racing down the turf. She's able to get that one in the back of the net.
The vibes continue to pick up here.
Oh, absolutely.
A minute and a half ago, they trailed by 4, and now it's back up to 3. Back-to-back goals for the Dingoes, but WBOX get one back. It's Ever Skelding completing the hat trick.
Yeah, much needed goal now. I mean, it's much needed. They were still leading by 2, but Ever Skelding just able to get that one back in to give the team the 3-goal lead that they, well, held very briefly, but it is needed to kind of get WBOX back into the swing of things here as the Dingoes are trying to stake their claim now in the offensive zone.
Credited with 39 shots right now for the Dingoes. And that kind of tells the story with how good the WBOX defense has been. We've been talking all about the Dingoes and their vibes, their energy, but WBOX, they trailed at one point in this game. They've climbed all the way back and now hold a relatively comfortable lead, but the job is not done. And McLaughlin is going to work her way into the zone. A nice move. She's slowed down, but still going to go to goal here, and she's stopped by Voicey, and the ball is stuck under her arm.
A great save, much needed save, I think, by Voicey there.
How about that pass?
What a great shot.
Backhand feed down to the corner. Diving through was Lip, and Saucy, excuse me, will drag it back into the yellow paint of her crease. Conversation ahead of the play as Shimko was chatting it up with the Dingoes defender, Rachel Boyes. And now a turnover near center, a chance to cut into it. It's Ash McFarland in all on her own, and she's stopped by the right pad of Saucy. But rebound being dragged through. Nobody's been able to pick it up yet. Now it's picked up by Hall, who shoots it wide in front. McFarland bats it on goal, and Saucy makes another save.
Yeah, Saucy kind of bailing out her teammates there, as it was somewhat of a careless turnover there from Bennett. She just kind of lost where the ball was in connection with her stick and lost control. It got onto the stick of Ash McFarland, but nothing coming for the Dingoes.
Now Peters will swim and dish that across the crease. It didn't quite connect. It's high up into the air, and now Boys will pick that up. Now spin through the double team forecheck. Wardenberg is going to try to stay with her and throws a hard hit right in front of the penalty boxes. She'll take it back, and now she's got to look up to her offense, who's just trickling onto the floor now. Picked up again in front of the Dingoes bench. Maddie Nugent is pinned. There's a delayed penalty coming up as Nugent goes down hard. And there's going to be a slashing penalty that's coming up against the Dingoes. Looks like it's going to be Rachel Boys taking a seat. There appears to be an injury down on the floor for WBOX. I think it is Maddie Nugent who got the worst of that collision, and they're going to bring out a coach. The Dingoes are going to send a trainer out as well. And a tough sight here for WBOX, who will be heading to the power play in a moment. But right now their concern is on their fallen teammate down in front of the boards. Looks like she's ready to get up with some help, as she does. So for now, Maddie Nugent is going to be removed from this game, and we'll try to keep our eye on if and when 8 makes her way back on. Thankfully, it looks like she is going to stay on the bench, which is one of those first sights that you want to see. If they go down the tunnel, of course, the nerves start to build, but for her to stay at least on the bench with her team tells me that she may be making her way back onto the turf sooner rather than later.
Oh, no, absolutely, and she's a good player for WBOX as they try and capitalize on the power play here, and they do.
Skelding gets number 4. WBOX now perfect on the power play, 2 for 2.
And they're back up to a 4-goal advantage that they came into the half with. So we just get a look here. That one just goes straight through a screen through pretty much all 4 PKers. Skelding nets another one.
So let's pretend here, let's review. Let's pretend that WBOX hangs on and wins this game. That would put them in a scenario where their record is 2-1. The Ridge Ravens right now have a record of 2-0, and the Dingoes, if they were to lose this game, would have a record of 1-1. That would mean that the Dingoes would need to win later tonight to force a 3-way tie in terms of records between the Ravens, the Dingoes, and WBOX, who get another. Madison Fox, she'll pick up her 4th.
You were mentioning the numbers game a bit when it comes to the standings. I would imagine that we've talked about it before. Goal differential would be crucial in those scenarios. It's a quick shot there, and Fox, what a beautiful angle to get that one back in.
Now off the face-off, Peters, a quick break, puts it wide. Big rebound off the boards. It'll be batted away from the WBOX stick, and now the Dingoes want to lead the transition. Maybe some slow numbers here. Pass across the floor. Wardenberg comes over. She gets beat, and they score. It's the Dingoes who get a much-needed answer back, and the lead is cut down to 4 once again.
It's just back and forth, really, but it's somewhat clustered scoring as we take a look at the replay. Dingoes come back the other way, a slow change for WBOX, and Gasper able to take advantage of that one.
Faceoffs have favored the Dingoes, but that last one that was won by WBOX turned into a scoring chance. Dingoes try to find one themselves, but they turn it over. Moen going to team up with Damon. Can't come up with it just yet, at least. WBOX breakthrough, led by Madison Fox. She's hit hard, but keeps her feet moving. Stays up, and Shimko has made her way back on. She'll tuck underneath, lane to the goal, opens up, and she crashes the crease. Can't avoid it. And Boise makes the save either way, despite it being unneeded on the crease violation.
Yeah, also just good to see that Boise has her head in the game still to try and stay focused on the task at hand, which is stop as many of those WBOX shots as come near you. And same with Saucy at the other end for WBOX against the Dingoes.
Gowdy with a big loose ball. She'll pull it out and get it over to the righties. There's a roller going to the goal, but they decide to flip it through the middle instead. Gowdy bouts it over to Damon, who thought about the dunk, but the ball wasn't in her stick. Now another big hit. Gowdy knocks down the streaking forward McLaughlin, and the Dingoes turn into another possession. They'll change on the fly. That brings on Sarah Brewster. Now with possession, ducks down to pick that up. Over to Hall. Brewster will set the screen. Hall looking for the roller. Out of the reach of Brewster, and it'll fall down to the turf again. Still up for grabs. Brewster has it underneath of her feet. And now 5 seconds left on the shot clock. The Dingoes got to be quick to get something on goal here across the floor, and a low shot that goes wide. And they give them the reset, but it was unintentional. So this will indeed be possession to WBOX.
Yeah, a bit of, I don't know, confusion from my end at least. You were like, there's 5 seconds left. I look up and it's like, it says 30. It says 30.
Yeah, I talk about the thankless job of the officials. I mean, the scoreboard operators, the clock operators, that is also a pretty thankless job. You're essentially just doing it for everybody to yell at you during a game. Human error there, we'll call it. Skelding loses it for a moment. Now 3 seconds to go. Does she have time to shoot? She'll fire it late and just misses the net.
Dingoes trying to rush back the other way, though, as WBOX trying to get numbers in their zone.
Gowdy looked like she was a little surprised by the room she had. May puts that high off the glass. Ricochets back towards the center line, and she's not going to be able to save it. Oh, now she overruns it. A chance for WBOX, a breakaway out of nowhere, scores!
What a pickup now. I feel like this is the second goal that's come off of a turnover due to the center violation. And coming in is Sophia Scobie to make it a 13-8 lead for the Dingoes.
Just feels like the Dingoes.
The Dingoes.
Yeah, feels like the Dingoes just need a break right now, but that last one, a self-inflicted wound, something we were talking about yesterday with some of the other teams. But like we've talked about here today, the Dingoes in a position that they hadn't previously found themselves in. Still plenty of time, though. Lots of lacrosse to be played here. Lip one-on-one with Peters. She leaves the ball behind trying to make a move, and her captain, Sarah Damon, will save the possession. Now Gaspar, 2 goals in this game thus far, gets the matchup of Peters. Gaspar skips down to the corner. It's knocked down. Still a chance to shoot. It goes high off the glass and bounces towards the outside. Now picked up on a chance to run, and there's Maddie Nugent back out for her first shift in a little while.
Good to see her there as Peters waits for the change to catch up here for WBOX.
What a pickup she's proven to be for WBOX here, and what a game here by Peters. Another big hit, chance for Ashlyn May. She's cut off quickly by Kay. May gets around her. Now she has a breakaway, and Saucy makes the stop.
K May, what some people think my name is.
See, but they only understand that if they know the spelling of your name.
No, my middle name's May.
Ah, okay, okay.
Some people think it's my last name. It's not, but yeah, anyway.
Well, Skelding dancing around the Poco Saints logo, still waiting for Peters to join late off the bench. Peters with it, fakes the shot, back up to Skelding, 5 to shoot. She'll fire over top, looking for her own rebound. It's out of her reach, and the Dingoes want to run, led by Moen. 5:20 left on the clock. It's a 2-on-1 forming. Moen stops up on the defender, and she'll pull out waiting for help.
It's a great read there from Nelson to kind of make sure the Dingoes stay far out. The WBOX defense like to crowd closer to their goaltender, but I mean, if you look at the score, then it's been working out for them, you could say.
You can just feel the energy in the building right now the longer this game goes on. But the adjustment defensively by WBOX from about halfway through the first quarter onwards to now has been outstanding. Now Wardenberg open on the crease, a twister shot. Mackenzie Shimko has shown off her creativity all tournament, and that might have been the craziest shot she's taken so far, and it didn't miss by all that much.
Now just away from where Saucy is in the Dingoes' crease. The Dingoes now trying to come back at the other end of things after the save.
Lomas tried for the quick stick. Didn't quite work out. Now McLaughlin using her speed again. The Dingoes will double team. Defender goes down. McLaughlin hits a cutter. Another double team. The Dingoes swarming defensively. They knock it loose. Picked back up again as Madison Fox will find some room. Peters joining late. She'll shoot, and that goes wide of the goal. Had a chance at her own rebound, but it deflects off her stick and back over center.
That was a good defensive run out there by the Dingoes. It was a very quick change, and they were able to get set up before there were any real dangers for WBOX as Saucy collects the ball from inside her net, but won't be a goal.
Yeah, waved off on the crease violation against Hall. Now Skelding, angled wide nicely, waits for some help to join her. She's got Shimko to her left. Shimko now has it, waits for Peters to create a little room. Shimko gets underneath, pass to the middle, scores! Another big goal for WBOX. It's Alora Wardenberg picking up her second.
They're now up by 6, which is the largest margin. A quick one just past Voicey. She tries to jump up to stop it, but instead Wardenberg able to get past her. We'll see it here. Just up and over the far side shoulder. We're up to 14-8. Peters trying to come back in now.
Yeah, she's not done yet. Absorbing that contact. She'll protect her stick. Up top, Skelding. Down to the corner, a good cycle for WBOX, and Voicey punches that over to the corner. But WBOX will reload their 30. Shot early on, and where is it? It might be stuck in the pad. That had a chance to go. There's a little bit of daylight down there at the far post.
Yeah. Voicey just took an accidental step backwards. It could have been even more costly, but instead she's able to keep that leg out there. You mentioned this. We mentioned the standings. We talked about that. Could be a bunch of teams on 2-1 records. The word of the day at the beginning of the day yesterday in these divisions, goal differential. I mentioned in the break, I haven't thought this much about goal differential since the World Cup. But it's things like that as well. How much is this going to help WBOX in potentially taking the lead depending on how the Dingoes perform against the Ravens later here tonight as we get another goal.
Hall on the doorstep. Another important one for the Dingoes. Every one that they scored here is important, but it's taking that next step where they've struggled.
Absolutely is. Just a wide play there. The rebound bounces off the wall and goes straight to Hall. Damon was already headed off, thinking the chance was over. And instead, Hall able to get that up and over the shoulder there of Saucy.
And while we're talking about goal differential, I mean, as things stand right now, because this is something that George and I were talking about, well, we'll pause that for a sec because the Dingoes look for a chance, and that just missed the mark of the streaking forward. Trying to decide, what is now the goal differential at this present time for the Ravens because they got the win in their morning game. A big hit near the restraining line, but because it was a forfeited win, does that mean are they just given a 1-0 win as a result of that? And that might be a factor here because right now the Ravens have a goal differential of +11. The Dingoes coming into this game had a goal differential of +7, and WBOX had a differential of -1.
So it is consequential here. They'd be going up to +4 for WBOX. The Dingoes will be falling to 2. As WBOX try and get a bit more into the green when it comes to their goal differential. So yeah, if you have a bunch of teams on 2-1, where does that leave? Who scored the most? Does that factor in head-to-head records as well? Of course, WBOX losing yesterday to Ridge Ravens. And then it's also WBOX, this is their last shot to get into that conversation for the lead of this division, the global division here at Grit 2026.
35 seconds left in this third quarter. Hall has the latest for the Dingoes. She's got room again. She'll fire that high, and Saucy makes the save. Loose ball down to the turf. Everybody battling for it right now. 2 Dingoes versus 2 defenders for WBOX. Dragged free of that pile. 15 seconds now. WBOX just trying to kill the remainder of this clock out, but the Dingoes come up with it. Pass across the floor. Moen with a nice move. She'll make one more over to Hall. 5 seconds to shoot. Have to get something on goal here. Pass down low, and they're going to run out of time. A late shot that will be stopped, but it's all going to come down to the fourth quarter here. It's game number 2 of day number 2 at Grit 2026, and we're going to bring you all of it right here on BC Sports TV when we return. 15 miles, 15 smiles, Georgie. That is cameraman extraordinaire George Parra to you watching at home. Don't get it twisted. My name's Tino Farah. I got Kaya Antic over to my right. What a game we've got here between the Dingoes and WBOX. And if you've been following along, you've been hearing us talking about it all game long. Depending on the result of this game, it is all going to come down to the second to last game of today. It'll be the Ridge Ravens facing off against these very Dingoes. Ravens and Dingoes in Port Coquitlam. Kaya, can you believe that?
I cannot. There must have been a break in security at the zoo, and they must have all crossed. Do you think they'd take the golden ears or the poor man?
Well, I think the Ravens are probably just going to fly here.
Oh, right. Yeah,
the Dingoes probably...
They're birds.
Probably going to leap their way
They
here.
could swim. I think dingoes can swim.
Somebody might have to Google that for us.
Okay. Copy, we are checking.
Jamaica Hall, what a game she's had. Cannot beat Evelyn Susie, who, I mean, talking about having a big game. Sorry, Saucy, that is. She's had. See, this is the thing that's tripping me up is, of course, Kaya and myself, we are, and George as well, we're hockey fans. We are used to Carson Susie, who has his name spelled the same way as Evelyn Saucy, who just made that save in tight. But we got, I mean, their coach told us it's pronounced Saucy.
Maybe Carson's the one that's wrong.
Yeah, correct. Man, am I right?
When in doubt, blame a man.
Yeah, correct.
Always. That's my motto.
Yeah, George. Tighten it up, George.
Yeah, George, come on.
Big rebound. Hall with one hand will get that underneath the defender and make her way back into the zone. Halfway through this shot clock, though. So the Dingoes got to be quick. Jocks didn't see the defender, but able to protect her stick at the last second. Now Hall, 5 to shoot. Running out of time here. She'll drive her shoulder and shoot right on, but there's a penalty coming up to WBOX. The Dingoes have not scored a power play yet in this game, despite their 2 prior chances. Better late than never if they were to find one now with the extra attacker.
Yes, exactly. There's also, they allowed a shorthanded goal, and unlike the last power play the Dingoes had, that shorthanded goal was scored by Ever Skelding, who was in the box for that second WBOX penalty kill, but still Dingoes weren't able to get anything on net.
Here's Hall with a shot that's blocked. Skelding also not out for the start of this penalty kill either. Might be something that the Dingoes will try to make the most of, but we've seen the speed from Emma McLaughlin, and she is on the floor for this penalty kill. So working around the point. Shot early and dead on to Saucy, who hangs on for the whistle as well. Maybe not the grade A look that the Dingoes were looking for, but a shot nonetheless to test the netminder. Oh, and the Dingoes may have just gotten away with a back over call. WBOX hollering at the officials for it, and that may prove to be costly. Moen up top, threatening the shot. She'll cycle over to her left. Jacques back to Moen. Won't shoot yet. Hall thinking about it. She'll skip across the offensive zone, and it's ripped to the short side. Finally, they break through on the power play, and Gaspar will complete her hat trick.
A much needed goal starting out this 4th and final likely quarter for the Dingoes. Never say never. So Gaspar able to just whip that one in. See it here. Just the speed at which he's able to shoot that one. I believe it got some of the post there and just ripples the back of the net.
Now Skelding open, she'll shoot, and the Dingoes have made a goaltending change to bring in Katie Smith. So she comes in maybe a little bit cold here in the 4th quarter, but something to change up that vibe that we were talking about all game. The Dingoes now will lean on Smith. Back to 5-on-5 offense. Gaspar is denied by the pad. Rebound picked up nicely by Sarah Damon. Over to the corner, and Lomas has it fall out of her stick before she could shoot. Then she gets bumped hard. And she's going to go back at Skelding, and that's going to be a penalty against Lomas. She makes her way back to the bench, but she's going to have to head over to the sin bin, barring a goal here. Stopped by Smith.
So just after they get their much-needed power play goal to cut the lead back to 4, they're headed onto the penalty kill here for the Dingoes.
And this WBOX power play, they have been perfect. 2 for 2 on the power play throughout this game. This is that next step that I've been talking about that the Dingoes have struggled to take. They take a penalty after scoring a big goal. Now they need an even bigger kill. Like you talked about, Kaya, they've allowed a shorthanded goal against. They would love to get one themselves, but their priority right now is just to kill off these next 2 minutes. As Peters gets blown up, Lip throws a hard hit and lets the loose ball go between her legs. It'll be picked up by Lister. It's going to turn on the Jets and get this into the offensive zone. Here comes that shorthanded look that they've been on the hunt for. May gets around the early check. They're just going to keep it around the half wall. Nice move by Hall. She'll put it deep into the corner, and the Dingoes content with just killing off that 30, and they'll get some penalty killers back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Rest your killing legs, and then also able to cut time off that penalty clock that's ticking away as the Dingoes head back out down the field.
Damon off the bench. She'll fire a bounce shot, gets the rebound again and floats it over the goal. Lip, who created that transition, will pick it up, and have to imagine she's exhausted and she'll want to change after getting that back over to her captain. A well-deserved breather for her. She'll be replaced by Gowdy. Floating up top, gets the feed from Damon. Now to the left, Gaspar, fresh off of picking up her hat-trick goal, looking for 4, and that goes off the outside of the post, and it ricochets back in front. Picked up, though, by McLaughlin, using her speed, but just 9 seconds left on the power play. Moen chases her down, and the Dingoes have done a good job here to kill off this penalty. Now they need to go to goal if they can get possession back.
They're up to 60 shots now on the net of Saucy, but still trail.
Wardenberg up top, McLaughlin. She'll shoot through a screen, but Lister knocks her down hard. Another big defensive stand for the Dingoes.
Great check, though, by Lister. She's had a few throughout the tournament, but that one quite literally sent McLaughlin flying.
Now here's Brewster. Swings it up top. Pass was in too tight for Hall to handle, and now she can't touch it as she stepped through the crease, and there's going to be a loose ball push as Zoe Kayev sent her opponent hard into the boards from behind. Might be a little bit lucky that's not a penalty.
Yeah, it looked a bit close to one, but the ref says 5-on-5.
Officials done a good job in this game, really letting the players play here, putting away their whistles for the most part.
Absolutely. It's been a very physical game, especially since the second quarter on.
Peters forced wide, finds a bit of room. She'll make a nice move and dive across the crease, but ball would be stopped by Smith, and it appears to be stuck in her gear. Fished free by a defender. Little under 9 minutes to play here. It's only a 4-goal deficit. The Dingoes still very much so in this game.
And still lots of time to go as well.
They have scored the latest goal, but nothing since. It was followed up by a big penalty kill. Here's Hall. She can really rip it. Talked about her high IQ in the early goings of this one. Now she'll take it to the goal, but stopped by Saucy.
Yeah, Hall, she can really rip it. She has a number of chances here. It's just that she's hounded by the defense. And now WBOX trying to come back the other way.
That was almost bad, but a big hit again. Ashlyn May lays the boom, knocking down Sophia Scobie, who's now pinned. And it's going to be Dingoes' possession. The trailing official says that Sophia Scobie was pinning the ball up against her body. Now it's up and a breakaway again for the Dingoes, but Saucy gets the right pad out in time.
Gasper was all alone in front. Not sure the WBOX had realized the situation their goaltender was in.
Moen to the goal, and it stopped in the crease. Looked like that was trickling towards the line, but some backspin may have saved WBOX, and then they can't clear their crease in time. Now it's WBOX making the mental errors that we saw from the Dingoes earlier.
This could be costly with just a 4-goal deficit.
Gowdy will fire sidearm. Back up top, Hall heard some footsteps. To the corner, shot, tough angle off the corner boards. Gaspar will collect that near her bench. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Swing pass over to Hall. Waits for the screen. Finds a little bit of room top side. She's got a lane to shoot. She'll fire low off the outside of the glove. And it'll ricochet over to the corner, but tough one to pick up for Brewster. Now battling to get it back as it's knocked ahead to the line. And WBOX has some tired defenders out right now trying to survive this shift.
An extended shift for the team in white and purple. They try and keep their lead intact.
An onslaught of offense. Hall was dispossessed for a moment. Saucy makes another save. Both teams still have their second half timeout here. Gaspar takes it back, one more defender to beat, and she'll just keep the majority of the defenders on. One was able to change now to the goal. Gaspar scores. You could feel it coming, and now it's just a 3-goal deficit.
It was a matter of if, not when, and Gigi Gaspar, probably one of the only players on the Dingoes that can match the speed there of McLaughlin. She's able to draw the defense towards her and tuck it up and over the shoulder there of Saucy to make it 14-11.
Assuming that the shots up on the scoreboard here are accurate, it's taken them 61 shots to get here. And when was the last time we saw WBOX get a shot on goal?
I don't remember.
Has to be at least over 5 minutes of game time since we've seen them get a clean look. And if you missed it earlier, the Dingoes have Katie Smith in goal now. Kira Voisey played 3/4 of this game. Smith came in for the 4th. WBOX have been unable to test the new goaltender for the Dingoes.
Absolutely is. They're still trying, the Dingoes here trying to get it even closer, but a long shot through, and it bounces onto the stick of Skelding.
Well, now they test Smith. How's that for one of your first shots that you've seen? And it's a breakaway by Skelding, who has 4 goals in this game. And if not for the glove of Katie Smith, she'd have 5. Might have to make another save as a turnover. Lomas is stripped of possession. WBOX will keep, led by Fox. She gets towards the goal, but a hard check angled wide by Gaspar, trying to do everything to keep her team within striking distance.
Shot clock running low, though, and they're still out wide with Peters. A timeout called now by WBOX.
And the Dingoes can get a defensive lineup out if they want. This should, I believe, reset the 30 as well. It was at about, I think, 11 seconds when they called their timeout. Whether it's going to start at 11 or go back to 30 is going to be the question. But now WBOX do not have a timeout to use late if they need it. But I don't dislike the decision to use that. You could feel the energy right now. It's starting to move in favor of the Dingoes as they're getting closer and closer towards coming back in this game. And the WBOX coaching staff used their timeout to calm things down here a little bit, slow down some momentum that may have been going against them, and now they can have a chance to pick up that lead back to 4 once again. The Dingoes, though, need to continue their strong defensive play here in this fourth quarter.
Absolutely. We mentioned this a number of times over the last few games, especially early on yesterday. How much does fatigue come into play? All teams are going to be playing 5 games over the course of 4 days, and that means you're going to have to play multiple in a day in these group stage games. And for WBOX, this is their 3rd and final game before we get towards the championship weekend, and it's definitely a different experience and a weird shot, and one of the weirder goals you'll see.
A Herculean effort from Alora Wardenberg. We'll take another look here as the defender for the Dingoes stumbles, sort of dives over trying to make a play on it, but Wardenberg goes down to her knees and still has her hands free. Late in the shot clock, able to get that 4-goal lead once again. A massive goal for WBOX.
That is very impressive. That's all I can say. I'm like, I can't do a push-up from my knees. Can you imagine?
Oh, and Hall gets it right back. The importance of the last goal for WBOX. This one even bigger. The Dingoes still in a good spot.
Yeah, as we take a look here off the face-off, the Dingoes get possession, and it's Hall all alone. Skelding can't reach her, and Hall once again for the Dingoes. Trying to remember how many goals she had yesterday.
High fives all around.
High fives all around. That is 10 goals in a matter of just over 24 hours.
Across the floor, the Dingoes continue to press. 4.5 to play. Wardenberg had that huge play at the other end of the floor, now tasked with defending as she gets wrestled down. Play on, says the referees. Now a penalty coming up against WBOX. The Dingoes are going to leave Smith in the goal. Gaspar will shoot to the short side and wide, bouncing its way back towards center floor. Still have time. Now they'll bring Smith over for the extra attacker. Dingoes want to pull things out here and get the extra attacker on. Gowdy making their way on, and they score! How did that go in?
We're going to have to see the replay on that one, as it looks like Saucy thought she had it, and then it's a long shot here. We'll just get back to normal speed, and it trickles through. It was between the legs and just escapes the squeeze by Saucy. And the Dingoes are back within 2. It's a long shot through a screen, off the outside of the post, off the back of the leg, and into the net. And the Dingoes are now, I'd say within striking distance, but they've been within it for a while. Anything can happen. Sports are wild. But there is still pressure here from WBOX to try and extend their lead back up once again to kind of keep that hold against the Dingoes that they had earlier on in this half. Good save there from Smith.
And look who WBOX gives the ball to right away. It's Skelding with 4 goals. She takes a bounce shot that goes high into the mask, and now Julia Peters resets the 30. Skelding will stay on. Lobbed across. Shimko trying to get around Lister. She'll bounce it wide. Peters lets that go off her body, and she gets hammered from behind. Falls to the turf, and it'll go back over center, but off of a Dingo's stick. They'd be wise here to press the ball. Just 6 seconds on the shot clock. Skelding is going to launch this all the way down the floor, as she lets some defenders get on. Now under 3 minutes to go. The Dingoes need 2 to tie this game.
Smart play there by Skelding to just make sure that their possession starts in the furthest possible reaches.
Here's Hall. You would think the offense is going to run through here. She spins underneath, gets to the goal, and she puts it wide. Oh, she looks to the heavens. how good of a chance that was. Now Gaspar falling, shoots and puts it off the stick. Big loose ball now as the Dingoes will dig. Picked up McLaughlin. We've seen her speed plenty throughout this game, but she can't get through Hall. Slows her down. McLaughlin on the second chance, protecting, and she's stripped of possession.
What a sequence between two of the faster players on this pitch.
Now Wardenberg sends it ahead. WBOX would be wise to use a full 30 here. Remember, the Dingoes still have a timeout to use, trailing by 2 with under 2 to play. Bounces over towards the near wall, picked up now by Fox. She can't shoot. Hall has been out for a while. She runs through some contact. She's got Jacques off the bench, floating it through to the middle. Jacques will shoot, stopped by Saucy, and she'll get her own rebound. Now to the cutter, picked up shot, and that'll go off the outside of the left pad.
Big saves for Saucy now with under 90 seconds left in this fourth quarter. Dingo's still looking for 2.
They want 1 before they use their timeout. Moen puts it off the face mask of a defender, and that goes high into the air, but it stays in play. Now Smith going to the bench for the extra attacker. WBOX trying to make a change here on the fly. Shot well wide, and that'll go off the boards. Dingoes need to save the back over here, and Gowdy can't do it in time. Smith now has to get back into the goal, and there's just 62 seconds to play.
Very close play there. Smith just getting reset. That ball goes wide, but is bounced back in front. No WBOX players though to take advantage as we're into the final minute.
Lomas takes a tumble. She may have taken some contact. She's slow to get up. The Dingoes haven't used their timeout yet. They want the whistle from the fallen player, and they don't get it. 40 seconds to go, and WBOX can ice this. Kaylin Lomas staying down, and she is in some distress here. The trainer for the Dingoes is going to make their way on. Hard to see. I didn't really see any contact, which makes me think there might be a cramp. Remember, Kaylin Lomas was the one I was talking about yesterday who has not played lacrosse, she was telling me, and I think if I remember correctly, about 10 years' time. And I know, as anybody will tell you, you know, if you've grown up as an athlete, but you take some significant time off, you know, getting back into the motion of things is not easy on the body. I mean, George, you and I have a friend, Ty Klarner, who's been off for a long time. This year, he tried to play senior B lacrosse for the Tri-City Bandits for the first time in a very long time. And in his first game back in probably 5 years, he winds up tearing his hamstring.
Oh.
So the body can't always deal with these long breaks and then getting right back into this high-impact sport such as lacrosse. And Kaylin Lomas looks like she's going to stay on the bench, so hopefully that was just a cramp. But
yeah.
WBOX now have 39 seconds of this game to kill off before they will be crowned victorious here in their third and final game of pool play.
Yeah, just looking at a bit of a replay, it didn't seem to be any contact. It was just, she went down. It looked more so like a cramp. I mean, I understand the feeling, but.
Oh, a hard hit there along the boards. Peters now sees Skelding up in the play. 15 seconds to go. This could be the ball game, folks. Skelding stopped by Smith, and she'll hang on, but the clock winds down to 8, and the Dingoes are not going to have enough time to make anything happen here. Peters with one more interception. They want one more goal. In front, scores at the buzzer. It is going to count. Another important one for WBOX, who will win this game by 3. And now the Dingoes are going to have to find a way to reset ahead of their evening matchup later on tonight against the Ridge Ravens.
Let's just at the buzzer. Goes up and over Smith. Just at the end here, we'll see it on the net cam. Fake shot over to the pass to Shimko, and Shimko, okay, I cut it a little too soon, but the fake out by Shimko there to just get it past the defender And the Dingoes fall to 1-1 as WBOX finish up group play 2-1.
Okay, so to answer the question here that we were asking before, the schedule has been updated.
Oh.
They give the Ridge Ravens a 10-0 win over She Nation. They will now play this evening against the Dingoes. And WBOX, they're done now for pool play, so they will finish pool play with a 2-1 record. And the Dingoes will go into their next matchup 1-1, which means that next game here against the Ravens is going to be absolutely massive, and they're going to need goals here because we have a shot at a 3-way tie in this division at a 2-1 record. But we still got a little bit to get through before we get there because 12:30 is the scheduled start time for our next one between Goalie Factory, or The Factory, as we've been told that they like to be called, and the high-flying Team Poland, who have been absolutely electric this tournament, coming off of a 21-2 win last night over Grit. You can catch all of that right here for free on BC Sports TV. Myself, Kaya Antic, and cameraman extraordinaire George Para are going to be parked up here in the booth, so hopefully you can park yourself on the couch or in your computer chair or wherever you've got your phone to be able to tune in 12:30 right here at the John Bailey Arena. For everybody up here in the booth, though, for Kaya Antic, for cameraman extraordinaire George Para, I've been Tino Farah, we've been BC Sports TV, and we'll see you at 12:30.